captured by Lakota warriors, but her heart was stolen by their prince. The arrow struck the wagon wheel, inches from Claire's hand. She screamed and dove behind the wooden frame as 3 more arrows whistled through the air. Her father's rifle fired once, twice, then silence. She pressed her face against the splintered wood, heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst through her chest. The dust cloud on the horizon had materialized into a dozen riders, their war cries cutting through the hot Montana air like knives. Her father lay motionless 20 feet away, an arrow protruding from his shoulder. Claire's throat closed. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The horses circled the wagon, their hooves thundering against the dry earth. She grabbed a small pistol her father had given her 3 days ago when they left Fort Benson. Her hands shook so violently she nearly dropped it. A warrior dismounted in one fluid motion. He was tall, muscular, wearing buckskin leggings and a bone chest plate. His black hair hung past his shoulders, decorated with feathers and beads. He walked toward her father with deliberate steps. Claire raised the pistol, aimed at his chest, and pulled the trigger. The click echoed in her ears. Empty. She had forgotten to load it. The warrior's dark eyes fixed on her. He said something in a language she didn't understand, his voice deep and commanding. 2 other riders dismounted and moved toward her. Claire scrambled backward, her dress catching on the wagon's broken axle. She kicked free and ran. Her boots slipped on loose stones. Strong arms caught her from behind, lifting her off the ground as if she weighed nothing. She screamed and fought, her fists striking solid muscle. The warrior holding her spoke sharply. She was thrown over a horse's back, the air knocked from her lungs. Through her tears and the horse's mane, she saw other warriors checking her father. One knelt beside him, examining the wound. Relief flooded through her. He was alive. They were taking him too. The horses moved fast across the prairie. Claire's ribs ached from the jarring rhythm. Grass and sage blurred past. Mountains rose in the distance, purple and imposing. After what felt like hours, they stopped at a river. The warrior who had captured her pulled her down from the horse. Her legs buckled and she fell to her knees in the shallow water. He crouched in front of her, his face unreadable. Up close she noticed a scar running along his jaw and the intelligence in his eyes. He was younger than she first thought, maybe 25. He held out a leather water pouch. She stared at it, then at him. He pushed it closer. She took it with trembling hands and drank. The water was cool and sweet. Her father was placed on the ground nearby, conscious but pale. The warrior who had shot him was now wrapping the wound with strips of cloth. Claire tried to go to him, but the scarred warrior blocked her path. He shook his head once. She sank back down, defeated and terrified. As the sun began to set, they rode again. This time Claire sat upright in front of the scarred warrior, his arm around her waist to keep her steady. She held herself rigid, refusing to lean back against him. The landscape changed from open prairie to rolling hills dotted with pine trees. Smoke rose from a valley ahead. Her stomach twisted with fresh fear. The village appeared as they crested the final hill. Dozens of teepees spread across the valley floor, arranged in circles. People emerged from their homes, watching the riders approach. Children ran alongside the horses, their excited voices filling the air. Women gathered in groups, pointing and talking. Claire felt every eye on her. They stopped in the center of the village. The scarred warrior dismounted and lifted her down. Her legs shook. An older woman with gray braids approached, speaking rapidly in Lakota. She looked Claire up and down, then nodded. The warrior responded, his tone respectful. The woman gestured for Claire to follow her. Claire looked back at her father. He was being carried toward a different teepee, still unconscious, or perhaps just weak. She wanted to scream, to run, to fight, but exhaustion and fear paralyzed her. The old woman took her arm, not roughly but firmly, and led her away from the crowd into a large teepee decorated with painted horses and buffalo. Inside, a fire burned in the center. The smoke escaped through the opening at the top. Furs and woven blankets covered the floor. The woman pointed to a spot near the fire and said something Claire couldn't understand. She sat down, her whole body trembling. The woman brought her a wooden bowl filled with some kind of stew. Claire's stomach growled despite her terror. She ate mechanically, not tasting anything. The old woman watched her with sharp eyes, occasionally nodding as if confirming something to herself. When Claire finished, the woman took the bowl and left the teepee. Claire sat alone in the firelight, listening to the sounds of the village outside. Voices, laughter, dogs barking. Normal sounds. It seemed impossible that her world had shattered just hours ago. The teepee flap opened. The scarred warrior entered, ducking his head to clear the entrance. Claire pressed herself against the back wall. He held up his hands, palms out, and spoke in a calm voice. Then, to her shock, he said in accented English, "You safe. No harm." She stared at him, unable to form words. He spoke English. He knew her language and had said nothing during the entire terrifying journey. Anger flared through her fear. "You speak English," she said, her voice hoarse. "You let me think I was going to die." He sat down across the fire from her, his expression serious. "You not die. Your father not die. We take because soldiers come. Soldiers kill my people. We need know if more soldiers come." "We're not soldiers," Claire said desperately. "We're just traveling to Oregon. My father's a farmer. We don't want trouble." "Trouble already here," he said quietly. "Soldiers killed my brother 2 moons ago. Shot him when he hunt. Your people break treaty. Take our land. Kill our buffalo." Claire's mind raced. She had heard stories about Indian attacks, about savage warriors who killed without mercy, but she had also heard her father talk about broken promises, about settlers pushing into territory that belonged to the tribes. She didn't know what to believe anymore. "What's your name?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He studied her for a long moment. "White men call me Running Fox. My people call me Tatankamani. It mean walking book. I'm Claire. Claire Morrison." He nodded. "Claire, you sleep now. Tomorrow, council decide what happened." He stood and moved toward the entrance. Claire's fear spiked again. "Wait, my father. Is he alive? Can I see him?" "He alive. Medicine woman, help him." "You see tomorrow." Running Fox paused at the entrance. "You try run, warriors catch you. Prairie dangerous at night. Stay here, stay safe." Then he was gone, leaving Claire alone with the crackling fire and her racing thoughts. She pulled a fur blanket around her shoulders and stared into the flames. Less than 12 hours ago, she had been traveling to Oregon with dreams of a new life. Now she was a prisoner in a Lakota village, her father wounded, her future uncertain. She had never felt more alone or more terrified. But beneath the fear, a small voice in her mind whispered that Running Fox's eyes had held no cruelty, only sadness, and for reasons she couldn't explain, that gave her the smallest sliver of hope. Claire woke to voices outside the teepee. Gray morning light filtered through the smoke hole above. Her body ached from sleeping on the ground, and for a moment she couldn't remember where she was. Then it all came rushing back. The attack. The arrows. Her father's blood. She sat up quickly, her heart racing. The old woman from last night entered carrying a bundle of clothes. She set them down beside Claire and made gestures indicating she should change. Claire looked at the dress, traditional Lakota clothing made of soft deerskin with intricate beadwork along the shoulders. She shook her head. "No, I want my own clothes." The woman pointed more insistently at the dress, then at Claire's torn and dusty traveling dress. Claire realized her clothes were indeed ruined, stained with dirt and dried blood. With shaking hands, she took the deerskin dress. The old woman turned her back, giving her privacy. Claire changed quickly, surprised by how soft and comfortable the material felt against her skin. When the woman turned back around, she smiled for the first time. She said something in Lakota that sounded approving, then beckoned Claire to follow her outside. The morning air was cool and fresh. The village was already bustling with activity. Women tended fires, prepared food, and worked on hides stretched across wooden frames. Children played between the teepees. Men gathered in groups, talking and gesturing. Claire's appearance drew immediate attention. Conversation stopped. People stared. She felt exposed and vulnerable in the unfamiliar clothing. The old woman led her to a teepee on the edge of the village circle. Inside, Claire's father lay on a bed of furs, his shoulder wrapped in clean bandages. He looked pale, but his eyes were open. "Papa." Claire rushed to his side and knelt beside him. He reached for her hand with his good arm. "Claire, thank God. Are you hurt? Did they harm you?" His voice was weak but urgent. "I'm fine. They've been treating us well, considering." She looked at his shoulder. "How bad is it?" The arrow went clean through. "The woman who tended to me knew what she was doing. She gave me something for the pain." He squeezed her hand. "I thought I'd lost you when they took you away. I thought you were dead," Claire whispered, tears filling her eyes. "I saw you fall, and I couldn't do anything." A shadow fell across the entrance. Running Fox stood there, his tall frame filling the doorway. He looked at Claire, then at her father. "You come. Council wants to see you both." Claire's father struggled to sit up. Running Fox stepped forward and helped him, supporting him with surprising gentleness. They walked slowly through the village toward the largest teepee Claire had seen. People gathered around as they approached. Claire held her father's good arm, trying to steady him. Inside the council teepee, 5 men sat in a semicircle around a central fire. They were all older, their faces weathered and wise. In the place of honor sat a man with silver hair and a bearing of absolute authority. His chest plate was adorned with more elaborate decorations than the others. Running Fox helped Claire's father sit, then took his place standing behind the silver-haired leader. The leader spoke in Lakota, his voice resonant and powerful. Running Fox translated. "My father, Chief Gray Eagle, want know why you cross our land. Treaties say this land belonged to Lakota people." Claire's father spoke carefully. "We meant no disrespect. We were following the established trail to Oregon. We didn't know we were trespassing on your land. We're simple farmers, not soldiers." Running Fox translated, and the council members conferred among themselves. One elder, his face deeply lined, spoke sharply. Running Fox's jaw tightened as he listened. "Red Cloud say your people never respect treaty. Say all white men bring death and disease. Say we should kill you both as warning." Claire's blood ran cold. Her father's hand found hers and gripped it tightly, but Running Fox continued speaking in Lakota, his tone passionate and urgent. He gestured toward them, then toward the village. The debate grew heated. Voices rose. Claire couldn't understand the words, but she could read the tension in the room. Finally, Chief Gray Eagle raised his hand. Silence fell immediately. He looked directly at Claire's father, then at Claire. When he spoke, his voice was firm, but not unkind. Running Fox translated. "My father say you live, but you stay in village 1 moon, 1 month. You learn our ways. You see what your people destroy. Then you go, tell others what you learn. Tell them we want peace, but we defend our land." Relief flooded through Claire, followed quickly by dismay. A month. They would be prisoners for a month, but alive. That was something. Her father bowed his head. "We accept, and we're grateful for your mercy." The council dismissed them. As they left the tipi, Running Fox walked beside them. "You lucky," he said quietly. "Red Cloud wants you dead. My father believes some white people can learn, can changes." "Why did you speak for us?" Claire asked, looking up at him. "I speak for truth. You not hurt anyone. My people need peace, not more death." He paused. "Your father need rest. I take him back. You come with me. I show you village." Claire hesitated, not wanting to leave her father, but he nodded at her. "Go. Learn what you can. I'll be fine." She followed Running Fox through the village, acutely aware of the stares and whispers. He led her to the river where women were working, scraping hides and washing clothes. He gestured toward them. "You work here. Learn from Standing Willow." He indicated the old woman who had given Claire the dress. Standing Willow nodded and handed Claire a scraping tool. She demonstrated how to clean the hide, her movements practiced and efficient. Claire tried to copy her, but her strokes were clumsy and ineffective. The other women watched with amusement. One younger woman, perhaps Claire's age, giggled behind her hand. Standing Willow corrected Claire's grip patiently, repositioning her hands. Claire tried again, doing slightly better this time. The work was hard, her muscles unused to the repetitive motion. Within an hour, her arms ached and her hands were raw. But she kept working, determined not to appear weak. Running Fox returned at midday with food, dried meat and berries wrapped in leaves. He sat beside her as she ate. "You work hard," he observed. "I'm not very good at it," Claire admitted, looking at her blistered palms. "You learn." Standing Willow, best teacher. He pointed across the river where children were playing in the water. "My sister's children. She died last winter from white man's sickness. Coughing sickness." "I'm sorry," Claire said softly. The pain in his eyes was unmistakable. "Many die. Old ones, children, strong warriors. Sickness come from fort, from white man blankets. Bitter. This why Red Cloud angry. This why we take land back." Claire didn't know what to say. She had heard about disease spreading among the tribes, but had never really thought about the human cost. "I truly am sorry. No one should lose family like that." He looked at her, searching her face as if trying to determine if she meant it. Whatever he saw seemed to satisfy him. "Come, I show you more." He took her through the village, explaining what she saw. The teepee painted with buffalo was the home of the best hunter. The one with thunderbirds belonged to the shaman. He showed her where they stored food for winter, how they prepared pemmican, how they tanned hides until they were soft as cloth. Claire listened, fascinated despite her situation. As the sun began to set, he led her to a hill overlooking the valley. The view was breathtaking. Rolling plains stretched to the horizon, painted gold and orange in the evening light. "This land belonged to my people since before memory," Running Fox said. "Our grandfathers hunt here, our children born here. Now white men say it belonged to them. Say we must go to reservation, live in small space, forget our ways." "What will you do?" Claire asked. "Fight. Protect what is ours." He turned to look at her. "Your father, good man. He not understand. But maybe he learn. Maybe you learn too." "I want to understand," Claire said, and realized she meant it. "I want to know the truth." Something shifted in his expression. The hardness around his eyes softened slightly. "Then I teach you, show you who my people really are. Not savages like white men say. People with honor, with love for land and family." Over the next several days, Claire fell into a rhythm. Mornings were spent working with Standing Willow and the other women. Her hands toughened and her skills improved. The younger woman who had giggled at her, whose name was Morning Dove, began teaching her Lakota words. Claire practiced constantly, stumbling over the unfamiliar sounds. Afternoons, Running Fox would find her, and they would walk through the village or along the river. He taught her about plants that healed wounds, how to read animal tracks, how to move quietly through the forest. She taught him more English, correcting his pronunciation. They talked about everything, their lives before, their hopes, their fears, or... She learned that he was the chief's youngest son, that he had trained as a warrior since childhood, that he loved horses more than anything except his people. She told him about her mother who had died when she was 12, about her father's dream of owning fertile land in Oregon, about books she had read and places she hoped to see. One evening, as they sat by the river watching fish jump, Running Fox said, "You not like other white women I see at Fort. They look at my people with fear and disgust. You look with open eyes." "I was terrified at first," Claire admitted. "I thought I was going to die. But now?" She considered the question carefully. "Now I see people. Mothers caring for children, men providing for families. Elders sharing wisdom. It's not so different from my world. Just different customs, different language. This what my father hoped you learn," Running Fox said quietly. "Maybe you tell others. Maybe help bring peace." "Do you think peace is possible?" Claire asked. His expression darkened. "I want peace. My father want peace. But more white people come every day. They take more land, kill more buffalo, break more promises. How can there be peace when one side take everything?" Claire had no answer. She was beginning to understand the complexity of the situation, how neither side trusted the other, how violence bred more violence. It made her heart ache. That night, as she lay in her teepee, she thought about Running Fox. He was nothing like what she had been taught to expect. He was intelligent, compassionate, honorable. He cared deeply for his people and his land. When he smiled, which was rare, it transformed his entire face. She found herself looking forward to their conversations, to learning from him. The realization troubled her. She was a captive here, that she should be counting the days until she could leave, not enjoying her time with her captor. But the truth was undeniable. She was drawn to him in a way she had never been drawn to any of the boys back home. A week passed, then 2. Claire's father grew stronger. His wound healed cleanly thanks to the medicine woman's skill. He spent his days talking with some of the elders who spoke broken English, learning about Lakota history and culture. Claire could see the change in him, too, the growing understanding and respect. On the 17th day, Running Fox took Claire to a sacred place in the mountains. They rode for hours through pine forests and across meadows filled with wildflowers. Finally, they reached a clearing with a view that stole Claire's breath. The entire valley spread below them, the village visible as tiny dots in the distance. "My people come here to pray," Running Fox said, "to speak with great spirit, to ask for wisdom and strength." "It's beautiful," Claire whispered. He dismounted and helped her down. They sat on a flat rock overlooking the valley. For a long time neither spoke. Then Running Fox said, "Claire, I must tell you something." She turned to look at him. His expression was serious, almost troubled. "When council decide to let you live, I'm happy. I not want to see you hurt. But I tell myself it because you innocent, because killing innocent people wrong." He paused, struggling with the words. "But truth more than that. I happy because I want to know you, want to talk with you, want to be near you." Claire's heart began to race. "Running Fox, Let me finish," he said gently. "I know this foolish. You white woman. I, Lakota warrior. When moon pass, you leave, go to Oregon. We never see each other again. But I cannot stop feeling this way. When I see you in morning, my heart glad. When you smile, worlds seem brighter. This is not supposed to happen. Claire reached out and took his hand. His skin was warm and calloused from years of holding weapons and reins. It's not just you, she said softly. I feel it too. I didn't want to. I tried not to. But every day I spend with you, I see more of who you truly are. You're kind and wise and strong. You care about justice and protecting those you love. How could I not feel something for you? He turned his hand to clasp hers properly, their fingers intertwining. What we do, this cannot end well. I don't know, Claire admitted. I don't have answers. All I know is that right now, in this moment, I'm happier than I've been in years. Even though I'm far from home, even though everything is uncertain, being with you feels right. Running Fox reached up and touched her face, his fingertips gentle against her cheek. You, most beautiful woman I ever see. Not just face. Your spirit, your courage. Way you work hard even when hands hurt. Way you treat my people with respect. Way you try to understand instead of judge. Claire leaned into his touch, her eyes closing. When she opened them, he was closer. She could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, the way his lips parted slightly. Her breath caught. He hesitated, giving her time to pull away. Instead, she closed the distance between them. The kiss was soft at first, tentative and sweet, then deeper, more urgent. Claire's hands moved to his shoulders, feeling the strength there. His arms wrapped around her, pulling her close. In that moment, nothing else existed. Not the cultural divide between them, not the looming separation, not the conflict between their peoples, just the two of them, together under the vast Montana sky. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. Running Fox rested his forehead against hers. This changed everything, he whispered. I know, Claire said. Your father will not approve. My people will not approve. White society will not approve. I know that too. But you not sorry? She smiled, genuinely happy despite all the complications. Not even a little bit. They stayed on the mountain until sunset, talking and kissing and making promises they both knew might be impossible to keep. As they rode back to the village under the stars, Claire's mind was spinning. She had come to this village as a terrified prisoner. Now she was leaving the mountain as something else entirely. A woman in love with a man who should have been her enemy but instead had become her whole world. The question was what they would do about it, and whether love could possibly bridge the enormous gap between their worlds. The village seemed different when they returned that night. Claire saw it through new eyes now, not as a prisoner but as someone who might actually belong here. Children waved as they passed. Morning Dove called out a greeting in Lakota that Claire actually understood and answered. Standing Willow smiled knowingly when she saw them ride in together. But not everyone was pleased. Red Cloud watched them with narrowed eyes, his expression dark with suspicion. He spoke sharply to Running Fox as they dismounted. Running Fox answered calmly but firmly. The exchange grew heated. Other men gathered around, watching with interest. Chief Gray Eagle emerged from his tipi and the arguing stopped immediately. He looked at his son, then at Claire, then back at Red Cloud. He said something brief and commanding. Red Cloud's jaw clenched, but he nodded and walked away. The chief gestured for Running Fox to follow him. Running Fox squeezed Claire's hand once before letting go. I come find you later, he said quietly. Claire watched him disappear into his father's teepee, worry gnawing at her stomach. Standing Willow appeared beside her and guided her away from the watching eyes. Back in her own teepee, the old woman made tea and sat with her. She spoke in Lakota, slowly enough that Claire could understand some of it. Young love is strong fire, Standing Willow said, mixing Lakota and English words, but also dangerous. Can warm heart or burn everything down. I don't want to cause problems, Claire said. I don't want to hurt Running Fox or his family. Standing Willow patted her hand. Too late for that. Fire already burning. Question now is how to keep it from destroying village. An hour Claire paced the teepee, unable to settle. Finally the flap opened and Running Fox entered. His expression was serious but not angry. My father no, he said simply. Claire's heart sank. What did he say? He say he not surprised. Say he watch us together, see how we look at each other. He say this complicate everything. Running Fox sat down beside the fire. Red Cloud demand council meeting tomorrow. He say I disgrace my people by caring for white woman. Say you use me to spy, to learn our ways and tell soldiers. That's not true, Claire said fiercely. I would never. I know. My father know too. But Red Cloud angry about many things. My brother's death. Our shrinking hunting grounds. The broken treaties. You are easy target for his anger. What will happen at the council? I not know. But I defend you. Defend us. He reached for her hand. Claire, I must ask you something important. If council say you must leave tomorrow, what you want to do? She thought about it carefully. If I leave, I go to Oregon with my father like we planned. I probably never see you again. If I stay... She paused. Can I even stay? Would your people accept me? Some would. Some never will. Life would be hard. Very different from what you know. No books, no church, no white people's comforts. You would be Lakota woman, do Lakota work, live Lakota way. And there is always danger. Soldiers might attack, we might have to move, to run. You could be killed in raid or die from hard living. You're not making it sound very appealing, Claire said with a small smile. I must be honest, I will not lie to make you stay. You deserve to know truth. His voice softened. But if you stay with me, as my wife. I protect you with my life. I honor you always. I love you until my last breath. This I promise. Claire's eyes filled with tears. You love me? Yes. I try not to. But my heart not listen to my head. I love you, Claire Morrison. I love you too, she whispered. I don't know when it happened exactly. Maybe when you helped my father, even though you had every reason to hate us. Maybe when you showed me the sacred mountain. Maybe it was all those moments together by the river. But I love you. They held each other as the fire burned down to embers. Tomorrow would bring the council and difficult decisions. But tonight they had this moment of peace, of certainty in their feelings, even if everything else was uncertain. The next morning came too quickly. Claire dressed in her Lakota clothing with care. Standing Willow braided her hair in the traditional style and placed a beaded band around her forehead. You look like one of us now, the old woman said approvingly. The council teepee was crowded when Claire and Running Fox entered. All the elders were present, along with many warriors and respected women. Her father sat near the entrance, looking worried. He met her eyes and tried to smile reassuringly, but she could see his concern. Chief Gray Eagle called the meeting to order. Red Cloud spoke first, his voice passionate and angry. Running Fox translated for Claire in whispers. Red Cloud recounted all the wrongs committed by white people against the Lakota. He spoke of murdered families, stolen land, slaughtered buffalo herds. He spoke of broken promises and lying tongues. Then he pointed at Claire. This woman is like all her people. She smiles and speaks soft words, but she brings only trouble. She has bewitched the chief's son, made him forget his duty to his people. She will betray us. Her father will tell soldiers where we camp. They will come with guns and kill our children in their sleep. We must send them away now. Or better, kill them so they cannot tell our secrets. A murmur ran through the crowd. Some voices agreed, others argued. Running Fox stood, his posture proud and defiant. Red Cloud speaks from pain and anger, which I understand, but he speaks without wisdom. This woman and her father have shown only respect for our people. They work hard, they learn our language. They do not judge us or treat us as less than human. Claire Morrison has opened her heart to our ways. She sees us as we truly are, not as white men's lies paint us. He paused, letting his words sink in. I have fought beside you, Red Cloud. I have mourned my brother with you. I hate the soldiers who killed him as much as you do. But Claire is not a soldier. She is a woman with courage and honor. And yes, I care for her. My heart has chosen her. This does not make me a traitor. It makes me a man who can see beyond hatred to find hope for peace. Red Cloud started to respond, but Chief Gray Eagle raised his hand. My son speaks truth, but Red Cloud also speaks truth. The question is which truth serves our people better, hatred or hope? One of the elder women stood. Claire recognized her as the medicine woman who had treated her father. She spoke in a strong, clear voice. Running Fox translated. I am White Buffalo Woman. I have lived 70 winters. I have seen much death and much life. I tell you this, hate destroys the hater as much as the hated. If we kill every white person we meet, we become what they say we are, savages without honor. She walked to Claire and took her hands. This girl has good spirit. I see it. She works without complaining. She honors our customs. She treats Standing Willow with respect due to elders. She is not our enemy. Another elder stood. But if Running Fox takes White Wife, what message does this send? that we accept white people taking our land? It sends message that we judge people by their actions, not their skin, Running Fox said firmly. Is that not the Lakota way? To value courage and honor above all else? The debate continued for hours. Claire sat silently, understanding maybe half of what was said, but feeling the weight of every word. Her father looked increasingly uncomfortable. At one point he stood and spoke. I don't understand most of what's been said here, but I understand this is about my daughter. I want you to know that Claire is the most precious thing in my world. I've raised her to be honest, hardworking, and kind. If she has feelings for your son, then I know he must be a good man because she doesn't give her heart lightly. He paused, his voice cracking with emotion. I won't pretend this is what I dreamed for her. I'm scared for her. Your worlds are so different. But I've learned something in my time here. I've learned that I was wrong about a lot of things. I thought I was coming to an empty land, but it's not empty. It's your home. I thought I knew what was right, but I didn't know the whole story. So if Claire chooses to stay, if she chooses this life, I'll support her. Because she's smart enough to make her own decisions. And brave enough to follow her heart even when it's difficult. Running Fox translated his words. Many of the women nodded approvingly. Even some of the warriors looked moved. Chief Grey Eagle studied Claire's father with new respect. Finally, as the sun began to set, the chief stood. We vote. Those who think the white woman and her father should leave, raise your hand. About a third of the hands went up, including Red Cloud's. Those who think they should stay, raise your hand. More hands rose this time, including White Buffalo Woman, Standing Willow, and several young warriors who had befriended Running Fox. The decision is made. Claire Morrison may stay if she chooses. Her father may stay and heal, then continue to Oregon if he wishes, or stay if he promises to honor our ways. But there are conditions. He looked directly at Claire. If you stay, you become Lakota. You marry my son in our tradition. You accept our customs as your own. You share our dangers and our hardships. You can never go back to White World. If you choose this path, it is forever. Do you understand? Claire stood on shaking legs. This was it, the moment that would decide her entire future. She looked at her father, who had tears in his eyes, but nodded at her. She looked at Running Fox, who watched her with love and hope and fear, all mixed together in his expression. She looked at Standing Willow, at White Buffalo Woman, at the children playing outside the teepee entrance. She thought about the life she had planned, Oregon, maybe eventually a husband from her own people, children, grandchildren, a safe, predictable life. Then she thought about Running Fox's kiss on the mountain, the way her heart soared when she saw him, the sense of purpose she felt learning Lakota ways, the respect and dignity with which these people lived despite everything they had suffered. I understand, she said clearly, and I choose to stay. I choose Running Fox. I choose to become Lakota. A cheer went up from some of the gathered people. Others looked unhappy but accepting. Running Fox's face broke into a smile so bright it could have lit up the night. Chief Grey Eagle nodded solemnly. Then it is decided. Tomorrow we prepare for wedding ceremony. Today we celebrate that hatred has not won, that love has found a way even between enemies. Perhaps this is sign from Great Spirit that peace is possible. The crowd dispersed. Claire's father embraced her tightly. Are you absolutely sure about this? He whispered. No, she admitted. I'm terrified, but I'm sure about him. And that's enough. Then I'm happy for you. Your mother would have been too. She always said you had the heart of a pioneer. He pulled back to look at her. I'll stay a few more weeks to see you married. Then I think I'll head back east instead of to Oregon. Maybe I can talk to people, tell them what I've learned here. Maybe I can help in some small way to bring understanding between our peoples. I'd like that, Claire said. Running Fox approached, and Claire's father shook his hand formally. You take care of my daughter. She's stubborn and willful and absolutely terrible at following directions, but she's also the bravest person I know. You're a lucky man. I know, Running Fox said seriously. I honor her always. This I swear. That night, as Claire lay in her teepee for perhaps the last time as a single woman, she thought about the incredible journey that had brought her here. 3 weeks ago she had been captured, terrified, certain she would die. Now she was about to marry a Lakota prince and become part of a people she had been taught to fear. It should have felt wrong. It should have felt like a betrayal of her own people. But instead it felt like coming home. Like finding the place she was always meant to be, even if she hadn't known it existed. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Learning to be a wife in this culture. Facing the continued suspicion of people like Red Cloud. living with the knowledge that her choice had forever separated her from white society. But she would face it all with Running Fox beside her, and somehow that made everything worthwhile. The wedding preparations began at dawn. Standing Willow woke Claire before sunrise and led her to the river. Several women were already there, including White Buffalo Woman and Mourning Dove. They helped Claire bathe in the cold water, washing her hair with sweet-smelling herbs. Mourning Dove giggled and chattered excitedly, most of which Claire still couldn't understand. But the joy was universal. Back at the teepee, Standing Willow presented Claire with the most beautiful dress she had ever seen. It was white deerskin, soft as silk, decorated with hundreds of blue and white beads and intricate patterns. Fringe hung from the sleeves and hem. A matching pair of moccasins completed the outfit. "This was my daughter's wedding dress," Standing Willow said, mixing Lakota and English. "She died before she could marry. Now you wear it. She would be happy to see it used for love." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I'll honor it, I promise." The women helped her dress, braided her hair with feathers and beads, painted traditional designs on her cheeks with red ochre. When they finished, White Buffalo Woman held up a polished piece of metal for Claire to see her reflection. She barely recognized herself. She looked like a Lakota bride, exotic and beautiful. Meanwhile, Running Fox underwent his own preparations. The men took him to Sweat Lodge to purify himself. His father and uncles counseled him on the responsibilities of marriage. His friends teased him mercilessly about being caught by a white woman. Through it all, Running Fox smiled, his happiness impossible to contain. The ceremony took place at sunset in the center of the village. The entire community gathered in a huge circle. Chief Gray Eagle stood at the north point, representing wisdom. White Buffalo Woman stood at the east, representing new beginnings. Red Cloud, despite his disapproval, stood at the south, representing strength. An elder named Tall Tree stood at the west, representing the end of the day and completion of the circle. Claire entered the circle from the east, led by Standing Willow. Running Fox entered from the west, led by his father. They met in the center, facing each other across a small fire. The setting sun painted the sky orange and purple behind them. Chief Gray Eagle spoke first, his voice carrying across the gathering. Running Fox had taught Claire enough Lakota that she understood most of it. The chief spoke of the sacred nature of marriage, of two individuals becoming one family, of the responsibilities they would share. He spoke of ancestors watching over them and the future generations they might create. White Buffalo Woman came forward with a blanket, red wool decorated with sacred symbols. She wrapped it around both Claire and Running Fox, binding them together. "As this blanket covers you both, so shall you protect and warm each other through all seasons of life," she said. Tall Tree brought forward a bowl of water mixed with herbs. He made them each drink from it, then poured the rest over their joined hands. "As water flows and adapts but never breaks, so shall your love be flexible but unbreakable." Red Cloud approached last, and Claire tensed. But his expression, while still stern, held a grudging respect. He placed his hands on their shoulders. "Though I question this union, the council has spoken. The spirits have shown signs of approval. I give my blessing, though I pray you prove worthy of the trust placed in you, white woman." "I will spend my life proving it," Claire said in Lakota, the words she had practiced all day. A murmur of approval ran through the crowd. Red Cloud nodded and stepped back. Finally, Running Fox's father came forward. He carried two items, a beautiful bow made of strong wood and sinew, and a knife in a beaded sheath. He gave the bow to Running Fox and the knife to Claire. "My son, this bow represents your duty to provide and protect. Use it with honor." He turned to Claire. "My daughter, for that is what you are now. This knife represents your duty to nurture and preserve. Use it with wisdom. Together you are stronger than alone. Together you can face whatever comes." Running Fox and Claire accepted the gifts. Then, following the tradition Running Fox had explained to her, they turned to face the four directions, honoring the spirits of each. East for new beginnings, south for warmth and growth, west for reflection and wisdom, north for strength and endurance. When they completed the circle, White Buffalo Woman removed the blanket from around them and refolded it. "This blanket now belongs to your marriage. Keep it safe. When you argue, wrap yourselves in it and remember you are one. When you are cold, it will warm you. When you have children, it will cover them too." The ceremony concluded with a feast. Tables laden with food appeared as if by magic. Roasted venison, corn cakes, berries, wild rice, fish from the river. The entire village celebrated. Music filled the air, drums and flutes, and voices raised in traditional songs. Claire's father found her during the feast, his eyes red from crying. "You look so beautiful, so happy. I wish your mother could see you." I think she can, Claire said, hugging him tightly. Thank you for understanding, for accepting this. How could I not? You're glowing with joy. That's all any parent wants for their child. He hesitated. I'll leave in a few days, head back east. But I'll write to you. I'll send letters to the fort and have them forwarded. I want to know how you are. I'd like that. And Papa, be careful. Tell people the truth about what you saw here. But some won't want to hear it. I know. But I have to try. Your bravery inspired me. If you can cross this divide, maybe others can too. As the night deepened, the dancing began. Mourning Dove pulled Claire into the circle of women, teaching her the steps. Claire stumbled and laughed, but no one minded. She was one of them now. Running Fox danced with the men, his movements powerful and graceful. Their eyes met across the fire, and the love between them was so strong it was almost visible. Later, when the celebration finally began to wind down, Running Fox took Claire's hand and led her away from the crowd. They walked to a teepee set apart from the others, decorated with painted horses and symbols of protection. Inside, a fire burned and furs covered the ground. Someone, probably Standing Willow, had scattered wildflowers around the space. This is our home now, Running Fox said. I built it myself over the last 3 days. It is not much, but it's perfect. Everything is perfect. They spent their first night as husband and wife, talking and loving and making promises for the future. Running Fox told her about places he wanted to show her, skills he wanted to teach her. Claire told him about books she wished she could share with him, stories from her childhood. Do you regret leaving your old life? He asked as they lay together, her head on his chest. No, she said honestly. I miss my father. I'll miss some comforts. But I don't regret choosing you. Choosing this life. I feel like I found something I didn't even know I was looking for. What is that? Purpose. Belonging. Place where who I am matters more than where I came from. She tilted her head to look at him. And love. Real love. The kind worth sacrificing for. He stroked her hair gently. I promise to be worthy of that sacrifice. Every day I will show you that you made right choice. I already know I did, Claire whispered. Outside, the celebration continued with scattered singing and laughter. But inside their teepee, the newlyweds created their own world. One built on love and trust and hope that perhaps two people from different worlds could forge a new path forward together. The first weeks of marriage were an adjustment. Claire learned the rhythms of her new life quickly, but not without struggles. She woke before dawn to fetch water, prepare food, and tend the fire. Her hands, which had been soft from a life of relative ease, became calloused from working leather and grinding corn. Standing Willow remained patient but demanding, teaching Claire everything from the proper way to set up a teepee to which plants could heal wounds and which could kill. Mourning Dove became a close friend, giggling with Claire over mistakes and celebrating small victories. The other women slowly accepted her presence, though some remained distant. Running Fox was patient and loving, helping her when she struggled, but also expecting her to learn and adapt. He taught her to ride, Lakota style, gripping the horse with her knees and moving as one with the animal. She fell off more times than she could count, but eventually got the hang of it. One morning, about a month after the wedding, Claire was working with the other women when shouting erupted from the edge of the village. Warriors grabbed weapons and mounted horses. Running Fox appeared, his face grim. Soldiers spotted 2 days' ride from here. We must move camp immediately. The next several hours were chaos. The entire village packed with practiced efficiency. Tippies came down in minutes. Everything was loaded onto travois pulled by horses. Children were gathered and counted, helped onto horses or travois. Claire worked frantically alongside everyone else, following directions from Standing Willow. They traveled fast, moving north toward rougher terrain where soldiers would have difficulty following. Claire had never been so exhausted. Her legs ached from riding. Her arms burned from helping set up camp each night. But she never complained. Everyone else, including children and elders, endured the same hardships without protest. On the third day, scouts reported the soldiers had turned back. The tension eased slightly but didn't disappear. They made camp in a hidden valley surrounded by pine-covered hills. Defensive positions were established. Watches were set. That night, lying in their teepee, Running Fox held Claire close. This is our life now. Always moving. Always watching for danger. Are you sorry yet? Claire thought about it honestly. The past few days had been terrifying and exhausting, but she had also seen the strength of these people, their ability to work together, protect each other, survive against impossible odds. No, I'm not sorry. I'm proud to be part of this. Part of you, He kissed her forehead. You are stronger than I expected. Braver, too. My father says you have warrior spirit. Tell him I said that's the greatest compliment I've ever received. As winter approached, life in the village shifted. Hunting parties went out constantly, working to store enough meat for the cold months ahead. Claire learned to preserve food, make pemmican from dried meat and berries, tan hides for warm clothing. She also began teaching some of the children English. Running Fox had suggested it, arguing that understanding the language of their enemies would help them negotiate and protect themselves better. Some parents objected, but Chief Gray Eagle supported the idea. Claire found she loved teaching, loved seeing the children's faces light up when they grasped a new concept. In return, the children helped improve her Lakota. They laughed at her accent, but also patiently corrected her pronunciation. She became particularly close to a 7-year-old girl named Little Hawk, the daughter of Mourning Dove. The child had lost her father in a skirmish with soldiers the previous year and had attached herself to Claire as a surrogate aunt. One evening, Little Hawk approached Claire with a serious expression. Claire, why do white people hate us? The question caught her off guard. She sat down with the child and thought carefully about her answer. Some white people are afraid of what they don't understand. Some are greedy and want land that doesn't belong to them. And some have been taught lies about who you are, but not all white people hate you. My father doesn't. I don't. There are others, too, who want peace. Will there ever be peace? Little Hawk asked. I hope so. I'll work for it every day. But it takes people on both sides willing to try, willing to see each other as human beings instead of enemies. The child nodded solemnly. You're human. You're my friend. And you're mine, Claire said, hugging her. As the first snow began to fall, Claire discovered she was pregnant. White Buffalo Woman confirmed it with a knowing smile. Claire was terrified and elated in equal measure. She told Running Fox that night, watching his face transform with joy. A baby, he breathed, placing his hand on her still flat belly. Our baby. A bridge between two worlds. Are you happy? Claire asked. Happy does not cover it. I am blessed. Honored. Terrified. He laughed. Is that normal? I think so. I'm terrified, too. Standing Willow was thrilled when she heard the news, immediately beginning to make tiny moccasins and a cradle board. Mourning Dove squealed with excitement. The other women offered advice and shared their own birthing stories. Even some of the men who had been cool toward Claire warmed up, congratulating Running Fox on the upcoming addition to his family. But not everyone was pleased. Red Cloud remained distant and suspicious. One day he confronted Running Fox in front of several warriors. Your child will be half white, Red Cloud said. What loyalty will they have? To the people or to the enemy? My child will be Lakota, Running Fox said firmly. Raised in our ways, taught our language and customs. The blood in their veins matters less than the values in their heart. Blood always matters, Red Cloud countered. Then what of my wife? She has proven herself again and again. She works harder than many women born to the tribe. She learns our ways with respect and dedication. She teaches our children. Is she not Lakota because her skin is pale? Red Cloud had no answer to that. He walked away, but Claire knew she would never fully earn his trust. Some divisions ran too deep to bridge in one generation. Maybe her child, and her child's children, would finally heal those wounds. Winter settled in, hard and cold. Food became scarce. Hunting was difficult in the deep snow. The elderly and very young suffered most from the bitter temperatures. Claire spent hours each day helping tend the sick, learning medicine from White Buffalo Woman. One night, a blizzard struck with terrifying force. Wind howled through the camp, threatening to tear teepees from the ground. Snow piled up faster than they could clear it. Claire and Running Fox worked through the night, checking on neighbors, sharing firewood, bringing the elderly and children into their teepee for warmth. By morning, 3 elders had died from the cold. The grief in the camp was profound. Claire attended the funeral rites, learning the Lakota way of mourning and honoring the dead. She sang the death songs as best she could, her voice mixing with the others in haunting harmony. They lived full lives, Running Fox told her later. They go to join ancestors. But still we mourn them. I would be so happy. Still we feel loss. That's the same in my culture, Claire said. Death is death, grief is grief, no matter what language you speak. As her pregnancy progressed, Claire's body changed. She moved more slowly, tired more easily. But she continued working, knowing there was no room for idleness when everyone had to contribute to survival. The baby moved inside her, strong kicks that made her gasp and laugh. Running Fox was endlessly fascinated by her growing belly, talking to the baby in Lakota and English, telling stories and singing songs. "I want our child to know both languages," he explained, "to understand both worlds, even if they can only live in one." Spring finally came, bringing with it new life and renewed hope. Claire's belly was enormous now, the baby due any day. White Buffalo Woman checked on her constantly, preparing herbs and medicines for the birth. When the contractions started, Claire was terrified. The pain was beyond anything she had imagined. Standing Willow and White Buffalo Woman guided her through it, their calm presence helping her focus. Mourning Dove held her hand, whispering encouragement. Running Fox paced outside the teepee, not allowed inside during the birth as was tradition. Claire could hear him talking to the other men, his voice tight with worry. The labor lasted 14 hours. Claire screamed and cried and begged for it to end, but finally, as the sun set, a baby's cry filled the teepee. White Buffalo Woman cleaned the infant and placed the squirming bundle in Claire's arms. "A son," she announced, "strong and healthy." Claire looked down at her baby and felt her heart expand beyond what she thought possible. He was perfect. Tiny and wrinkled and absolutely perfect. He had Running Fox's dark eyes and a shock of black hair. His skin was somewhere between hers and his father's, a beautiful tan color. Running Fox was allowed in finally. He knelt beside them, tears streaming down his face as he looked at his son. "He is beautiful, like his mother. He has your eyes," Claire said. They named him Two Rivers, to honor his mixed heritage. The entire village celebrated his birth with gifts and blessings. Even Red Cloud came, placing a small bow and arrow beside the baby's cradle board. "May he grow strong and defend his people," the warrior said gruffly. Claire realized that was Red Cloud's way of accepting her child as Lakota. It was more than she had hoped for. As she recovered from the birth, Claire reflected on the incredible journey of the past year. She had been captured, had fallen in love, had married into a completely different culture, and had given birth to a son who represented hope for the future. It hadn't been easy. There had been countless moments of fear, frustration, and doubt. But looking at her husband and son, at the community that had accepted her, at the life she had built here, Claire knew she had made the right choice. She had followed her heart across an impossible divide and found more than she ever dreamed possible. Little Hawk visited constantly, desperate to hold the baby. Claire led her, teaching the girl how to support his head and rock him gently. "You'll be a wonderful big sister someday," Claire told her. "I hope so," Little Hawk said seriously. "I want to teach him everything, like you teach me." The months passed quickly. Two Rivers grew strong and healthy. He learned to smile, to laugh, to grasp his father's finger with surprising strength. Running Fox was a devoted father, carrying his son everywhere, talking to him constantly. Summer brought more challenges. Word reached the village that more treaties had been broken, more land taken. Soldiers were pushing tribes onto smaller and smaller reservations. The pressure to conform, to give up the traditional way of life, increased daily. Chief Grey Eagle called a council to discuss their options. The debate was fierce. Some argued they should fight, resist with everything they had. Others argued they should negotiate, try to get the best terms possible for surrender. Still others wanted to flee north to Canada to escape American jurisdiction entirely. Running Fox spoke passionately for peace through strength. "We cannot win a war against all the soldiers and settlers, but we can refuse to surrender our dignity. We can preserve our culture, teach our children, maintain our identity even if we must adapt to new circumstances." Red Cloud disagreed violently. "Adaptation is surrender. If we bend, we break. We must fight while we still can." The council couldn't reach consensus. The village was divided. Tension ran high. Claire worried about what it would mean for her family, for her son's future. One night, she and Running Fox talked late into the night, Two Rivers sleeping peacefully between them. "What do you think we should do?" she asked. "I think we must survive. That is first priority, keeping our people alive, our children safe. Everything else comes after." He touched Two Rivers' soft hair. "I want him to know his heritage, to speak Lakota, to understand the old ways. But I also want him to live to grow old. If that means compromise, then we compromise." "That's wise," Claire said. "That's reality. I am not happy about it. Part of me wants to fight until I die, rather than see our way of life destroyed. But I am father now. I think of him before I think of my pride." Claire understood. Becoming a parent changed everything. Risks you might take for yourself became unthinkable when you had a child depending on you. In the end, the village decided to move again. heading deeper into territory where soldiers rarely ventured. It bought them time, but everyone knew it was temporary. The world was closing in. The old ways were dying. But even in the face of that inevitable change, life continued. Babies were born, children grew, couples fell in love. Elders shared wisdom. The community supported each other through hardship and celebrated together in moments of joy. Claire taught more children English and basic reading and writing. She hoped that if they understood the white world better, they could navigate it more successfully. Some parents still objected, but most saw the practical value. She also documented everything she learned about Lakota culture, writing it down in journals she carefully protected. Songs, stories, medicinal knowledge, customs, and traditions. She had a terrible feeling that one day these written records might be all that survived of this beautiful, complex culture. Two Rivers took his first steps during the autumn of his first year. The entire village celebrated as if he had done something extraordinary. Claire laughed and cried as he toddled toward his father's outstretched arms. Running Fox caught him and lifted him high, joy radiating from every part of his being. That night, lying together as a family, Claire felt a deep sense of contentment despite all the uncertainty surrounding them. She had found love in the most unexpected place, had built a family against impossible odds, had become part of a community that had every reason to reject her, but had chosen acceptance instead. "I love you," she told Running Fox. "I love our life, our son, our people. No matter what comes, I'm grateful for every moment of this." "And I love you," he replied. "You gave up everything for me. For us. I will spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret that choice." "I won't," Claire said with certainty. "How could I regret the greatest adventure of my life?" Outside their teepee, the night was peaceful. Stars scattered across the sky like diamonds. The river murmured in the distance. Horses nickered softly. It was a moment of perfect peace in an imperfect world. Claire closed her eyes and held her family close, knowing that, whatever challenges tomorrow brought, they would face them together. Love had bridged the gap between their worlds once. It would continue to sustain them through whatever lay ahead. That was the promise she had made when she chose to stay, when she became Lakota, when she gave her heart to Running Fox. And it was a promise she would keep until her last breath.